Alright guys, thanks for joining us this week on the Progress Podcast, episode number 1, series 1, joined by Dan Hardy of Momento. Dan, how's it going, mate?
How are you doing, mate? Alright?
I'm good. Yourself? Living the dream.
Well, living the dream indoors still.
I know.
What was it? Day 75?
It's all, you almost want to do that, the Big Brother voice. Day 75.
Well, is that a Geordie voice?
It's a Mackham. I think it's a Mackham. Well, I think he's a Mackham anyway. He's from that way down the road. But I suppose today's soundbite would be Day 75. Dan's been building a Wendy house.
Oh well, the building of said house has not started yet.
Ah, right.
More so the flagstones and digging soil.
Oh, the not very fun stuff.
Yeah, the stuff that isn't in the instructions,
Aye, the bit that's just on Google. And
Oh, yeah.
Some bloke down the road's done a YouTube video about how to do it, and you just think, that looks easy. Nah.
Title Bob Dig Soil.
Totally. Bob Digs. Is that actually a video though? Because I want to check. Because there's a reason I need to check that out, because we're getting our garden done, and I need to put not a Wendy house, but I want to put a playhouse at the back. Is Bob Dig Soil an actual thing that I can look up, or is this?
Yeah, just shout out your window. I'm sure in your street there's going to be a Bob somewhere who can dig a bit of soil. You know what I mean?
There'll be some jippo who can turn his hand or anything. So today we're going to talk about Momento, which is one of your babies, if you like.
Yeah, man.
So a bit of background on you. You've studied music at Music Tech College. You've got teaching qualifications. You've got a background in recruitment and training. Like me, guitarist. You've played in bands. You've played with Beth McCary, Triage, Calm My Heart. How did a bloke who's done all of that end up with Momento?
I suppose with Momento it was more of a pipe dream. It came out of nowhere, really. So, say about two years ago, 2018. Sort of seen a lot of content online. Sort of seen a lot of people were doing a lot of things, and I thought, well, I'm not really doing anything apart from posting pictures of me tea and talking about the kids and the usual stuff.
Life.
It's sort of like the actual stuff that nobody really cares about. And I thought maybe I should do something with social media. It's not exactly been around for 5 minutes. And I started it 2018, just created a page. It originally was Memento Music, because it was supposed to be around music and stuff like that, posting about albums and, playing guitar and all the rest of it. And sort of, I was just posting, odds and ends, anything, funny memes, reposting things that I liked. And it wasn't until a year later, sort of September, just gone. Well, it was sort of the summer before that, but when we got it really sort of kicked off, it's something sort of clicked. So I was looking. Basically, it all boils down to this one video game from my childhood. 10 years old, got a PlayStation that year, that Christmas, I believe, and it was Final Fantasy VII. It just come out that autumn anyway.
Never played it.
And that's a podcast for a whole entire another conversation altogether. But basically, that was it. From being 10 to what I am now, 32, coming on 33. It was my number one love. If you had a big red button that had nerd written on it, that when you slammed it, that would what would come for me. And anyway, since sort of 2015-ish, maybe it's a little bit before, because they carried the franchise on. It was popular, went platinum, all the rest of it, millions and millions sold. And there was whispers of they were going to remake it, so in 2015. But that sort of, you were getting news, and then it sort of fizzled out. But it turns out they're actually working on it. They're actually doing it. Yeah. Probably for the cha-ching, because known fine well that the customer base was now, of mature age, and would buy it whether it was good or bad or ugly. Um, and as it was sort of coming up, because it's just literally just come out, so I thought, you know what, I'd really love, I'd love just sort of like a memorabilia piece
Yeah.
with the game, the 3 discs in a frame with a nice poster, and just hang it on the wall, and that could be, a little present to myself.
Yeah.
Searched high and low on the internet, and all I could find was football shirts in frames. That was it. Signed ones, things that do with charity auctions, things like that.
Literally nothing to do with Final Fantasy. There was nothing out there that existed.
Not
of the standard that you would hang on your wall.
Not what I had in my head anyway. No. So I've decided to make one for myself. Got the poster done. Bought a second-hand version of the game, obviously. Banged it all together, and I thought, hold on, there must be other nerds like me out there who would fancy one of these on the wall.
Yeah.
So I decided to sort of change the sort of the tact of the brand a bit, and posted that up, and it was instantly sort of inundated with people just like me, Final Fantasy nerds.
Yeah.
Oh, love it. And that was our inaugural piece. Really, that's what started it. And there was a nice guy called Dan, funnily enough, who bought the first ever one that we got.
Yeah.
And it has a special little quote, on the back, rather large one. I don't think I could write it up by that. Just before you ask. And
read me mind.
That's what started it. Was selfishly me trying to create something for myself, and I thought, actually, I could probably sell these. People could fancy them.
If you, and again, I know you and I both share an affinity for Gary V. He talks a lot about finding something that you're passionate about. Was this? I mean, when you are in that sort of time frame of there's other people out there, were you passionate at that point to say, right, I'm going to go all in on this, or was it sort of like, let's just see how it goes, create 1 or 2 pieces and sort of test the water, or was it a sort of, nah, I'm going to go all in on this and really sort of create the brand and push it?
I mean, the dream in the back of my head, just as you being a musician, of days gone by yourself,
yes.
the passion and the heart is that I'd love to do this. This could be my life. This could be everything. And it's sort of same in the back of my head, sort of saying that I could really do this, just full on.
Yeah.
But I'm an adult. I've got a family. I've got to be responsible. Got to have got to bring in income. Got to look after. They come first. Without a doubt. So I've been doing it on the side, the old side hustle.
The side hustle.
The side hustle. You've got to work 9 till 5, and then you work, 7 till 10.
Yeah.
There's always time in the day. There's how many waking hours. And for I think you got me onto Gary V. Actually,
Did I? Sorry, mate.
Almost positive. It's like an infliction now. But when I first sort of got into him, it was the unbridled passion. It was no holds barred. It was just like, wow, like no.
It can sometimes with him. It can be that injection of like, I'm kind of sitting on the fence. I'm thinking about doing this thing. I don't know whether it's going to work or not. I mix that with, I've got to provide for the family. I've got bills to pay. But with him, when I kind of got involved with him, it was sort of like, that was the moment where I just went, nah, I'm going to go for it. Like that's, if you consume enough of his content, which a lot of people do, you don't. Well, I use the phrase "fall in love with a guy," but I think it's more what he says. Like he got me out of bed in the morning. Like I just wanted to go for it. Now,
man.
The one thing that I've learned since, and I do still consume a lot of his content, and I think he's also now pivoted a little bit on this. He's sort of realised that whole hustle, grind, 18-hour day thing, he's gone back and said, well, actually, I think that was not irresponsible, but he's realised that there's mental health
Yeah.
sort of results. You know what I mean? A lot of people will be like, yeah, Gary V, 18-hour day, hustle, 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 and then they've gone, actually, my mental health is suffering. So he's reined it in a little bit. And the thing that I've found is it's all good and well using it as motivation, but taking it as gospel. Like, obviously, he has the support network of his wife to make so he can do those dates. He's got the millions of pounds that he invested in Twitter and in all those startups early on. He's got the luxury that you and I don't have. You know, so can on that note, is Momento something that is generating gradual sort of income, or is it is it a little bit start stop? What's the sort of what are you finding out there? Is the sort of the uptake of what you do?
Well, that whole thing, like you're talking about that whole Gary V vibe, and yeah, he sort of pivoted, didn't he? And it turned to you do you, I do me, and that was it. It was sort of like, yeah, I work 20,000 hours a week.
Yeah,
you don't have to, as long as you're happy, and that's what really caught me on, because it was the passion and all the rest of it, and it was the motivation to go and do it, do it, keep doing it.
Yeah.
Just even if you get one like, be grateful for that one person that's actually liked your.
That was the thing. That was probably one of the first pieces of Gary V content that I had seen, and it was I think it was 1 is greater than 0, and I just thought, like, you know, for me, once you get your head around that, it makes that kind of the grind, as he calls it. You know, when you've got a page that's only got 10 followers, or you know, you've only got 3 followers on Twitter, don't just go, oh right, okay, fair enough, I've got 20 followers in 2 months, that must be shit, things aren't going the way I wanted it to, I'm just going to give up. You know, there's been times when I think as a society we base it on likes and how many followers we've got, and we attach so much self-esteem to that, that I think it's easy to fall into that trap of, I've been doing this 3 months and I've only got like 50 followers on Instagram. I must be rubbish at what I do. It's seeing past that and realizing that actually it could be worse. You might have none. You might have 1. You've got 50. Be grateful for that. You know, which I think a lot of people outside of the business world could still learn from that. You know, be happy with just having 100 friends on Facebook, as opposed to, you know, oh, she's got 200, she's got 300, I've got 1,000 friends. Doesn't matter. Like, and I suppose for you as well, from a business that's predicated on sales of bespoke artwork, you would rather have, and correct us if I'm wrong, but you would rather have a community of 20 people that 15 of them have bought from you than 1,000 where you've only had 5 inquiries. Do you know what I mean?
I'd rather have 10 meaningful interactions than 1,000 lucky loos and, you know, and tire kickers. And it's sort
tire
of
kicker, I like that.
You know, it's any behavior. You know, we're very habitual, being, you know, mammals.
Yeah.
So everybody's behavior can be mapped to some sort of pattern, and the same go if I go somewhere, is I just sort of switch the roles. If I go somewhere, restaurant, supermarket, wherever, doesn't matter, and I'm there to spend my money to get something, and I get an excellent service, that sticks with me.
Yeah.
That whole return custom. So I'd rather have myself for Momento 10 really solid interactions. Going back to that first Final Fantasy piece, me and Dan, the guy who bought it, we had a full on conversation about it, and one of my sort of, it was almost like a stipulation to him. It was like, this is really special to me. I made this for me. Make sure it goes to a good. I know you paid for it. You know what I mean? It's like one of those things.
Make sure it's valued.
You've parted cash with it, but that's not actually the important thing here.
Yeah.
The important thing is this has value beyond that.
Yeah.
So look after it. You know.
Yeah.
And that's and we had a great conversation. And every single sale we've made, that has been the case. That has been the conversation.
Yeah.
It's just making that interaction more substantial. So yeah, it generates revenue. Obviously, nothing on the scale of sort of sack the job off, and and obviously given what's going on, people's buying habits have shifted from one scale to the other, from bog roll to self-raising flour, which seems to be an interesting thing we can't get a hold of at the minute.
Never had any desire to bake my own bread, so I wouldn't even know what else you would use self-raising flour for.
Well, it's the difference between little skinny pancakes and really nice chunky thick pancakes. That's the difference.
Oh, you've mentioned pancakes now. I want me tea.
Well, there you go. I've got to attach your buying habits.
See, now, if I've learned anything from you, I've learned what self-raising flour and plain flour, like the difference between a good pancake and a bad pancake. Like, that's my key takeaway is pancakes. Like,
if you're going to quote that, make sure not to put my name underneath that. 'Cause,
if you want, but mind saying that. Having said that, though, I noticed on your Facebook page that you've liked that. What's he called? And that's what I reckon.
Yes, yeah.
Like, now, if you could, that could be a niche for you. You could start talking about pancakes and flour and make your own little video, and you could be the next viral comedic whatever I don't even know what he is. He's just funny. Like,
I think he's a comedian by trade, but I think his dad was always a good cook, and I think he sort of adapted his career into something given the lockdown and all the rest of it. And plus, he's a metalhead. He swears a lot.
Yes, I had noticed.
That was win-win for me.
You bought a T-shirt, didn't you? You got the fuck
man.
Me, it's hot. Fuck, it's hot. That's it.
Fuck it's hot. Yeah.
Fuck, it's hot.
Well, basically, that T-shirt is literally just branded off one of my ultimate favorite videos on the internet. Basically, it's a reaction video of him. So he's reacting to one of his own videos where he's talking about it being hot. Obviously, it's from Australia. But then he does a reaction video to the reaction video of the video that he's done. But then it goes on. It's like, and then he does another reaction video to that one, and then that one. It's absolutely insane, but it's some video.
I might have to check. As I say, somebody it sent us the packet sauce or the packet something that he did.
Fuck jar sauce.
Fuck jar sauce. Fuck packets. Fuck and I was watching him. And then he started talking about he started mispronouncing parsley as parsley. And it was just one of the things that stuck with us for days. I'm like, I need to find out. I watched the video, and then I sort of moved on and started doing other stuff. And then I was like, oh, what was the guy's name? So I'm Googling parsley, and all this weird shit's coming up. And then finally, like, page 96 of Google managed to get his website had come up. And I just binged on it like 2 or 3 hours. Just like, and the guy is really funny, but he's got a likableness, and as you say, from you and I who both appreciate heavier music, he ticks all the boxes for me. He swears, which I get wrong for doing quite a lot. He's got tattoos. He likes metal. He's just got everything that the likes of Gordon Ramsay just hasn't got. Like, he's too clean. Like, this guy is just like
it's unbrushed, it's unpolished.
I think that's the thing.
It's just that's it. It's just some dude in a kitchen,
swearing,
telling jokes, and making some decent scrum,
setting fire to packets of rice and sauce, and throwing eggs about. And if anyone wants to have a look at, I think his Facebook page is, and that's what I reckon. The guy is absolutely hilarious. So kind of going back to Momento, what's the sort of the future? What's the next steps for you? Do you think there's, do you need investment? Is it going to be a case of the business model needs to adapt a little bit, or is it just a case of doing what you're doing, as you say, building up a solid community of, as you say, nerds, but it's a solid community of people who get it, whether it be gaming, whether it be music, whether it's Grand Theft Auto, whether it's Final Fantasy, whatever it may be. Do you think that's the way you'd go building that community, or is it, is there another business strategy that you've looked at or that you're considering to help grow the business?
I mean, the list of ideas is, it is miles long.
Yeah.
The different pieces, the different product ideas that I've got, the concepts. It's just going to be a case of put out more and more and more and more, and just have a decent catalog of stuff that's going to capture, people's attention from one end of the nerd community to the other. But there's things like, looking at music and sports and movies and things like that, more general things, especially with movies, and one of the ideas was about cult movies and putting just framed memorabilia pieces around, cult movies, things like Clockwork Orange or Pulp Fiction, and, movies that
Classics.
Everybody knows.
Yeah,
exactly. But it's just a case of, I mean, one of the popular points that we had was with the GTA sort of theme. We had the personalized ones. The problem for me, to create those, amazing, love doing it. People get to, I get to turn people into GTA characters essentially. It doesn't have to be GTA. It could be sort of, I've had some anime requests, which I'm doing at the moment. So the style, and it doesn't matter. It's just the GTA thing sort of kicked off a little.
Yeah.
The problem with that, from a business perspective, is I only get to sell that piece once.
Yeah.
But that's it. I'd rather do personalized pieces. But I think what I need is a back catalogue. I need a catalogue of stuff that is there that anybody and everyone can enjoy or buy, or So
you've got a couple of different sort of revenue streams is the right word, but you've got something that people can just go on, and it's not bespoke. They just buy off the shelf, and it's sent out and packaged up and delivered.
Well, it's being able to sell more than one to more than one person is what it would make it not bespoke.
Like the Johnny Bravo stuff and the Exorcist Michael Jackson thing is like, but are they the kind of things that you could just as you say, you've got them on the website, but are they the kind of things that you would sort of look to sell more of, or are you happy just keeping it at the bespoke artwork side of things? Or
I mean, those crossovers, the crossover idea is always popular, and it's putting Michael Jackson's silhouette into the Exorcist poster.
I'll take my hat off to you for that. That is genius. Like,
as one of the early
how
ones,
to make Michael Jackson even more creepier. Put him in an Exorcist poster.
Which I didn't realize. I did get a couple of comments about, and there were all right comments. They were sort of, they were more concerned. Do-gooders sort of going, do you think that's appropriate? And it was sort of like, it was just, it's poking a bit of fun. And we all should sort of not lose our sense of humor, about these things. We've got to be typically British, and in the face of adversity, take the piss out of ourselves. That's how the British do it. But yeah, I mean, I'd love to do personalized things just for, so like you could come to me and say, I want this, and I'd make something very specific to you. You would then buy that, we'd design it together, or you would let me do it. It's all part of the process. So you can have as much creative input as you want.
Do you prefer that? Do you prefer when people kind of come to you with an idea, or is it a case of you just want people to come to you and say, right, I'm looking for me in Miami Vice type of GTA thing, and this is the colour I'm kind of thinking, and then let you just run with it? Or do you prefer just being said, I don't know what I want, I fancy something, just come at us with something?
It's subtle information that I'm after. So when people say, so they'll buy a digital commission, or they'll buy a framed sort of a sort of pro forma off the website. And it sort of says in there, get these are bespoke items, so get in touch and
Yeah.
we'll have the discussion. And when I'm digging for information, it's subtle information that I'm after. So I'm not after people to say, will you use this size brush stroke when you're creating
Yeah.
the artwork?
More of a
I'm after,
guidance.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like, yeah, I fancy the Vice City theme. I
Yeah.
want to be in a blue suit. I want the theme to be sort of the sand and the pink
Yeah.
sunset type of thing with the Miami sort of skyscrapers in the back type of thing. Perfect.
Yeah.
I can roll with that all day. It is hard doing ones where it's sort of like, oh no, you just do it, because
Yeah.
then you've got no gauge of expectation.
Yeah.
So even the littlest bit of subtle information, like what do you like, where are you from,
Yeah.
what kind of clothes do you wear, how can I adapt that
Yeah.
to you specifically? Because at the end of the day, I could easily just plunk your head on any old
Yeah.
body. It's sort of like, so the Vice City ones have always been like the suits,
Yeah. Yeah.
which again are taken from, the references are taken from the original
that's
game
the
itself.
classic visual, isn't it? That's of the suits and, as you say, the pink sunset, the sand, the strip, that type of thing.
Yeah.
So I mean, do you do all of the graphics yourself, or do you sort of outsource anything? Or
No, don't outsource anything. It's I mean, it's Photoshop. I
yeah.
mean, I always say, I said to my tattoo artist actually, um, give us a pencil and a piece of paper, and I'll ruin your day, because it'll be an absolute
Yeah.
monstrosity. But for some reason, Photoshop probably is due to the fact that I can just Control Z every time I make a
Yes.
mistake,
Yeah.
which is a lot.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
Control Z all the time till I get it right.
Yeah.
But with me Surface and me pen and Photoshop, it's like being a singer on stage. You don't stand there belting your lungs out. You let the mic do the work.
Yeah.
It's sort of I try and use the tools as best I can, but also using the reference
Yeah.
materials as well.
So would
So
you build
raw,
like a mood board type of thing of different visuals, have that around you as you're doing it, or is it just a case of you look at something and you go, right, I can just copy that and sort of use one image as a guide? Or
Yeah, I mean it's there's that much, especially with things. The GTA one's easy because it's that big of a franchise.
yeah,
There's that
that much
much
out there. Yeah.
reference material out there. It would be stupid for me to try and reinvent the wheel
Yeah.
when better people before me have done it,
Yeah.
and I can sort of see what themes have gone down. Even things like angles and
Yeah.
arm movements, and the way people are sort of pivot the head and even
Yeah.
daft stuff like that. So yeah, it's not a case of it's like car makers. They're all looking at each other to see who's doing what, and
Yeah.
it's nobody's trying to reinvent the wheel, not in the 21st century,
No.
but you want to make your wheel as unique as
As
possibly can
possible.
to.
So I
Yeah,
mean,
exactly.
when you're saying there, sort of everyone's looking at each other, and is there anyone else out there? I mean, I know there'll be people out there creating these types of memorabilia, but is there anyone out there that's sort of going down the same lines as you, as the GTA and the Final Fantasy type of thing? Or
I mean,
you say you launched 2018 and you looked around, you
yeah.
couldn't find anything. Are you still sort of one of the only people doing it, or is there a lot more now? Or
No, I mean the longer I've done this, the more I'm finding. So, and I know I've got there's a couple of friends. I've got Sean Watson, who's a long time Photoshop digital artist, who's got some great stuff. A lot of his stuff's based on like horror movies and things like that. And he's doing some newspaper sort of style articles, which are really cool at the minute. I've also got one of my old flatmates, actually Davey. He's doing some really cool stuff with like guitars. I've actually got a couple of his. I've got some
aye,
pieces of theirs anyway. So they're worth checking out. But with the games, I have found some things, but again, it's not been sort of like I would
to
have
the
done it a little bit
standard.
differently. And I mean, I am aware that I have really got to stop making these things for myself, because that's how
Well,
this is happening.
you say that, but I mean, I don't know if you've come across him, but there's a graphic designer who I absolutely love called Aaron James Draplin, based in where is he? Michigan. out in America.
Mm.
And he said he started sort of the early 90s in graphic design. You should check him out, by the way, as well. His stuff is awesome. And he said a lot of, especially the merchandise side of his business now, was built purely out of him building stuff for himself. He got a new dog. He called it Gary. He started creating logos for Gary. He had logos and graphics for his dad, his sister. He created his own company, which is just him, but he called it the Draplin Design Company, and they produced graphics and logos and little bits and bobs just for him. And then people kind of came to him and said, "Wow, that's really cool. Can I have one?" And I think that's sort of, that's pretty much the same as what you're saying there, is that you've created something that wasn't out there, that sort of touched you, and then people's come along to you and kind of, actually, that is cool, can I have one? And I suppose that's it vindicates you in sort of in building Momento and starting the business, because that's there. You can, you've gone out, you've looked for something, you couldn't find it, you've built it yourself, and then other people are now coming to you, and I mean, that's the dream, innit?
I can't be the only one out there. That was my thought. I thought, well, these things, the concept is fairly sort of, is fairly obvious. It started off with putting a classic game in a frame, putting a little poster in it, having a little insert there. It serves no worldly purpose whatsoever, just something nice to look at. Surely I'm not the only person on the planet who likes that sort of thing. And obviously, some people, I've had some comments of people sort of saying, well, that's a classic game, why don't you have it in the case and on a shelf and, nicely displayed and stuff like that. It's like, that's fine. If you want to do, you're probably already doing that. Fair enough. And I have actually got my personal copy of it, hidden away that nobody will ever see. But it was like, and again, I've went back to that very more minimalist sort of, have the game, find the classic games, put them in, have a very sort of minimalist poster, just so it's the game as the focus, not the artwork type of thing. Because there's other options for that. So I made recently made up the Metal Gear one, the first Metal Gear game, and I had that on the wall, and I went, oh, that's nice. I like that. And the next day, guy gets in touch, dude, send us the link. He's bought it, and I'm like,
I
didn't want I didn't want him to buy it. It was like, you know what I mean. It was one of those things. It was sort of, when it was done, it was sort of, because for people to see what I see, I need to create these things, as opposed to putting an idea on the internet and saying buy this idea and then I'll create it. It's sort, but once I create these things, I sort of look and go,
I don't want to sell that.
I don't want to sell it, but it's got to be, it's got as sort of selfish as Momento is in terms of, I'm just going to create pretty things that I like. It's got it pays for itself. It sustains itself. So it pays for the website, it pays for the studio, it pays for itself basically. It doesn't give me anything, but it covers.
Well, it doesn't give you anything financially, but I suppose, as you've said previously, it sort of affords you that luxury of diving into something that you're passionate about. If somebody buys it, happy days. If somebody doesn't, then, as you say, you've got something that you can hang up on the wall in the house or the studio, or what, and some people are just like that. They'll look at things and just get enjoyment from it.
Well, I mean, the last year. Look at the last year. It's been proof of concept more than anything. So it was, does this work? Are there people out there who like this sort of stuff? Are there people out there who will part money for this sort of stuff? And so far, it's the reception's been good, the attention's good, and it's just a case of scaling up. And one of those things is seeing where the attention goes, seeing where the focus has come from. And just again, it's that the scaling up also means the social media stuff is getting on, just chatting, going on those hashtags, getting involved in conversations, and seeing where people's hearts are, because people people buy with their hearts when it comes to the sort of stuff that we're creating. And the only reason I can sort of say that is because that's what I do.
Yeah.
You know, not everybody has my buying behaviors, but I think the meaningful people out there who buy with the hearts, those are the types of people I want to be selling to.
Yeah.
I don't want to sell to somebody who has got £1 million in the bank who could just buy anything and everything.
It's just going to be another piece to them, isn't it? Or something that's just going to sit in a random corner. You want something that like somebody's going to open it and then stick it smack bang in the middle of the living room and like
100%. One of my most recent ones was again it was a Final Fantasy piece. It was exactly the same piece. And a guy getting in touch with me probably about 2 or 3 months ago. Sort of saying, you know, how much, all the rest of it. And I was sort of saying, blah, 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 there's the link, have a look, you know, if you've got any questions. Well, and we ended up striking up a little conversation. And we were just sort of joking about it. He's like, oh, I'll have to run it by the missus, see if I, you know, that sort of thing. I was like, absolutely no problem whatsoever.
Yeah.
Anyway, the conversation ended. And then a couple of months later, so this will be just this month gone, back end of May. I get a message off a lady. So I'm interested in buying the Final Fantasy piece. Could you send us the link? I get a lot of websites aren't what they used to be. So I get a lot of content off people on social media saying, how do I buy it? And it's sort of like, well, you know, go to the website. There's a store there. And anyway, we had that initial conversation, and she goes, "Actually, my husband got in touch with you,
same guy,
a little while ago, inquiring about this. And he's a big fan, you know." And we had the conversation. I was like, "I remember, you know, because I treat every conversation as sort of as delicately as I possibly can." And it was his wife that he joked about going, oh, I'll have to run this by the missus to see if I can, you know, if I'm allowed to put something like this on the wall type of thing. Anyway, she bought it as a present. He didn't know. So, you know, and I sent him an extra little poster as well. I've done some test prints since. Right. I thought, well, actually, you know, it doesn't cost me anything more to send something else, just whatever the cost of the print was. So I sent him a test print of a new Final Fantasy piece that I did, and apparently loved it, and it was just like amazing. And the feedback that I got from her was just, you know, astronomical. And it's that, you know, sort of circling back to Gary Vee. It was like the gratitude. I sort of fed off the gratitude. So the money that she paid for it just disappeared out of my head. Yeah.
It's not about the transaction, the financial transaction. It's about
it was the buzz.
Yeah, you've created for them and for him. You've created this moment, which, I mean, I haven't asked you this, but is that where is that one of the sort of the elements of the name Momento, is to create a moment? Is that involved? You know, was that in the decision behind the name, or was it just?
It was more so. It was more so a sort of play on words for a memento, like obviously it's spelled differently. It's sort of obviously like a sort of memento, like a special piece.
Yeah.
But it's obviously spelled differently, but it is more. So it's a moment, memento. It's.
No. But no, I buy into what.
I'll have to work on the backstory to that.
No, the reason I sort of that kind of thing, I'm drawn to that kind of story is I follow having a bit of an addiction to a company called Field Notes, which I don't know if I've ever showed you these, but they're little just notebooks, just little. I don't even know if it's A5 or what, but
actually, yes, you did, because I posted about my leather backed book earlier.
Notebook. Well, these again, this came from the graphic designer I was talking about before, Aaron James Draplin. He started this business with a guy in Chicago. This is one of my favorite editions of these notebooks, and with these, from time to time they'll do like a sale on the website, or they'll do a subscription service, and they'll send you little bits and bobs, whether it's a couple of stickers, whether it's a pin badge, whether it's a pencil, just something extra that you haven't asked for, but you've gotten anyway. And when the physical process of, all right, okay, whatever I've bought, it's come, you open the box, and then obviously, in context, the guy and the lady that you sold the Final Fantasy piece to, he opens that, and obviously he's in awe. He's like, oh my god, this is amazing. And then he sees this test print that he didn't ask for. You haven't asked for anything. You've just given him it because you know he's a fan. That you can't put a price on that.
Yeah,
do you know
that's
what I mean?
it. It was just like, you know what? I've actually because I got two printed.
Right.
One, again, I was gonna sort of keep for myself and sort of and do the test prints as sort of like promos.
Yeah.
And I just thought, if he's a fan like I am, he'll probably appreciate this.
Yeah.
And it's even for the piece itself to be a surprise for him.
Yeah.
For the person who also bought it, she knew what was coming.
Yeah.
But actually, something extra came as well. And it's the same. It's like you say, it's just that little push extra.
Yeah.
And just getting that feedback ultimately at the end was, it was just an absolute buzz.
I suppose that, and correct us if I'm wrong, but I mean that must make all of the late nights, as you say, the sort of the 10 till 2 or the 6 till 10 extra shifts that you're putting in aside from the 9 till 5, that must just make that so much more worth it, and it must motivate you to keep on wanting to create more and more to get more moments like that.
Yeah, why not do that all the time?
Yeah, I think there's that when people talk about the 9 till 5 and the sort of the boring jobs, if people could go looking for that feeling in the 9 to 5, I think people would generally be happier at work. Like if you could look for a job or a career or start a business where you can't wait to get to work, and you open your email inbox and there's an email from a customer who, like your two customers there, just were so impressed with the service, it's made a massive difference to them. Like if the world could be like that, I think would all be a much happier society.
Oh God, yeah.
It's not the case, and obviously there's a lot of people out there in a lot of jobs where you're just going to have to put up with it. But it's good, and again, I'm sure, hopefully, a lot of people will take away from this is that you can go through that whole stereotypical life of go to school, go to college, go to university, get a job that pays the bills, and feed the family. But then to know that actually it is also possible, with a little bit of hard work and sacrifice and a bit of dedication, to have that something that just gives you that feeling of I've done a good thing, or do you know what I mean? So there's a balancing act, I think, to you can start something on the side, a side hustle if you want to call it that. To sort of to feed that desire that you obviously had in you, to create and to create those moments for people, for yourself. I mean, there's also on it sort of from a personal point of view as well. Obviously, with my better half is actually doing exactly this. Yeah, she's built a salon from the ground up. And I've been there every step of the way, and it's sort of like just seeing somebody where you could be. It gives you that motivation.
What I mean? It's that,
yeah.
And I mean, even just walking into her shop and go, this sort of thing can happen.
Yeah.
This sort of thing can be real.
Yeah.
If you put some elbows into it, and make it happen. So the proof of concept.
Yeah,
I've done that. It's there. It just needs a bit of scaling up.
Yeah.
And I just need to ride on that buzz.
So what do you?
Don't do drugs, kids.
Definitely don't do drugs, kids. So like, what's the next step for you? Like, so you've got the website up. which I'll link at the end. You've got the online store where people can obviously buy the ready-made stuff, and obviously then engage you about the bespoke stuff. What's next? What do you think? I know you say about continuing those conversations on social media and getting involved. Like, what's the next step, do you think, to help with that scale up?
So it's sort of threefold. So to scale up is I need to have more to offer
Yeah.
to more people. So it is covering. So I need, obviously I've got a fond sort of love for gaming, so
Yeah.
that's why everything's sort of been very heavily leaned on that. But actually the idea wasn't supposed to be just solely gaming. It was
Yeah.
supposed to be movies, hence the crossover pieces. It was supposed to be music, and I need to offer more to a
Yeah.
wider audience, but still treat it, still treat it the same. It still
Yeah.
needs to be treated the same, with the same kid gloves, and give everybody who drops us a message that same attention,
Yeah.
that same value of service type of thing. But also that the whole scaling up on social media, carrying those
Yeah.
conversations on, but also doing some collaboration type of thing.
Yeah.
So exactly, just like what we're doing now,
Yeah.
striking up conversations, doing it in more interesting formats, working with people on collaborative pieces.
Yeah.
So I've done quite a lot of promo things. So there's a guy in New York who
Right.
creates the best sneakers on planet Earth.
Yeah.
He's called Stomping Ground Customs.
Right.
So basically, he takes some of my favorite stuff that he does is it's based around Dragon Ball Z.
Right. Okay.
And he basically takes a pair of Air Jordans,
Oh
beautiful
no!
pair of sneakers to begin with.
Sacrilegious. Don't touch the Jordans.
But honestly,
Yeah.
look, it's Stomping Ground Customs based in New York.
Stop.
He just recently did a television show, which it was like one of these creative type of television shows, like a
Right.
British Bake Off type of sort of thing.
This
Where
isn't the guy that does it for like LeBron and Shaq and stuff, is it? Have you seen him?
I don't know. He's pretty well known, like, to be fair.
There's a guy I saw on Facebook that the two that I'd saw. In fact, it wasn't LeBron. It was Shaquille O'Neal, and I think Dwight Howard at the Lakers, and they just sort of rang him up. It was a very sort of Pimp My Ride style production.
Yeah.
And the guys, they just rang him up and said, "Look, I'm after a pair of sneakers. I'm after some Jordans or whatever." And then he does his research and sort of creates these custom shirts, which I mean are unbelievable. But the guy delivers them himself, and gets flights in first class everywhere. So they must be paying him a fortune.
Oh God!
But I think again, following sort of Gary V and getting involved in that community, sneakers and trainers are massive. Like I genuinely hadn't realised how massive a market, especially certainly second hand trainers and sneakers. I mean, I know obviously you. Which ones did you get? The Gary V K Swiss. Which one were they? The O3s.
I've got 3 pairs. So I've got the Z. Is it the 03s? The blue and white ones.
The Clouds
and
Dirt.
Clouds and Dirt.
Clouds and Dirt.
Clouds and Dirt. I've got the SP25s. The Shoe Palace ones.
How did you swing that one past your last leg?
I had to get. Well, I tried my hardest on Instagram, Facebook, and all the rest of it, saying, I can't remember what the scheme was that I was trying to. But I was getting in touch with sort of Team Gary V and all the rest of it was extended because we couldn't get them in the UK. It was one of those things because it was a Shoe Palace in United States that was selling them. Anyway, that failed terribly. I got a couple of likes. Even Gary V liked the post himself. So it was a particular. But no trainers. I even despite me pleading, but it was an eBay job.
Yeah.
Got a pair of them. Absolutely beautiful. I've worn them, so I've sort of ruined it for myself a bit. But I got the high tops, the Optimism ones.
Man. Yeah. The white.
They're still in the box.
They're the white ones.
They're actually on the website. They're actually on the website.
How much do you want? I'll cut you a deal. What size are they?
They're only little size 8.
What? Oh, I don't know that. 3 sizes onto that, and I might buy them. Just cut the toes off. I might just squeeze my toes into them. But I know I genuinely hadn't realised how big the sneaker market was in America or over here. So collaborations more. Have you got anyone else in mind? Anyone else that sort of any UK artists that you want to sort of you've got your eye on?
Not at the moment. That's sort of what the first point of scale up is to do some more of my own catalogue.
Yeah.
Create some more pieces. Sort of lean over and get some music stuff done. I'm really interested in doing some classic Led Zeppelin pieces.
Nice. Yeah.
There was also a Motorhead piece I've got on my list.
Nice. Yeah.
Go to, again, it's not, I'm not going to end up doing a Backstreet Boys one. It's
No.
unless there's a market for it,
I would pay you good money to not do a Backstreet Boys one. Like, put that on the website, right? Create a GoFundMe page, and I'll pay for it myself. No, the Backstreet Boys should not be immortalized in anything other than history. Just.
Well, I don't want to sort of fall into the same trap of sort of like, I love rock music.
Yes,
I love old rock music. It's all going to be that, like that. But there will be some off limit stuff. There'll be no Spice Girls and there'll be limits.
Would you consider doing for obviously for a decent fee? Would you consider doing an ABBA one?
I love ABBA.
Good man. That's
done.
Yeah.
Deal done.
Yeah, put that on the website. I'll buy it right now. Dan, listen, mate. Thank you very, very much for your time. Just before you go, I've got a quick little segment that I've put together that I didn't tell you about. It's called On Your Toes Rapid Fire 5. So I'm going to give you two options, and as quick as you can, you've got to tell us which one you would favour. Right? So, PlayStation or Xbox?
PlayStation.
Metal Gear Solid or Final Fantasy?
Final Fantasy.
Ooh. DC or Marvel?
Marvel.
Good man. Vans or K-Swiss?
Vans.
Oh, good answer. I mean, there's no right or wrong, but obviously, it
was the old skater and it just came out, just went, don't say it.
And the last one, and then this could make or break you. Star Wars or Star Trek?
Trek. Any day. Easy.
Ooh, that's controversial.
Come at me, bro.
That is controversial. I think we better end things there. Listen, mate, really, really appreciate your time. I'll let you get back to the kids and the missus. Just before you go, where can people find out more about Momento and what you're doing with them?
As is the case in the 21st century, I'm all over social media.
Good.
All my handles are at Momento Brand. And website is www.momentobrand.co.uk.
Champion. Dan, it's been a pleasure, mate. Thank you very much for your time.
Cheers, buddy.
And we'll catch you soon.
Cheers, mate.
Take care, mate.
Pleasure. See you, mate.